I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win, and I know that'll shock the audience because nobody's picking the Chiefs to win. Broussard is, because Broussard is, take integrity and all and just pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl. But it's a very controversial opinion around the media streets this week. And part of me understands it. Part of me understands why folks want to pick the Bills, because it is the hardest thing to do in the NFL is to make 3 straight Super Bowls. We have had 8 teams win back-to-back Super Bowls. We have only had 3 teams appear in 3 straight Super Bowls. The Dolphins in the 70s, the Bills famously in the 90s made 4 straight, and the Patriots a few years ago. So it is incredibly rare that a team dominate a conference the way the Chiefs are trying to over even a 3-year stretch of time. However, Broussard, this is where I'm upset. And this is where I will go out and say, I'm picking the Chiefs to win. I think it'll be a good game. However, if you ask me what is more likely, the Chiefs trounce the Bills like they did last year, or the Chiefs lose, I'll take the trouncing. Because the very simple math of this game is, which team is at home? Which team has the better coach? Which team has the better weapons? And yes, dare I say, which team has the better quarterback? Check, 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 all in the same column, all for the Kansas City Chiefs. Has Patrick Mahomes ever been bad in a home playoff game? Actually, he's only ever been perfect in home playoff games. Those ranks are NFL history, by the way. The only loss he's ever suffered at home was an overtime loss where he was not able to touch the ball his first year as a starter, playing the greatest coach and greatest quarterback ever. The only playoff game he has ever played poorly in was last year's Super Bowl, where quite literally, Broussard, he was pressured more in that game than any quarterback has ever been pressured, not in any Super Bowl, not in any playoff game, in any NFL game ever. The most pressures in a single football game ever was last year's Super Bowl. So yeah, if the Bills are going to pressure him 29 times, like Tampa did, then I suppose they can win. But we know Mahomes is showing up. We know the Arrowhead crowd is showing up. Do we know Josh Allen is showing up? He might. The quarterback runs scare me. They do. Stephon Diggs is awesome. But I'm going to take the Chiefs. And if you're making me choose Chiefs in a blowout or Bills at all, I'll take Chiefs in a blowout.
Like it.
Well, look, I'm with you, Nick, obviously on the Chiefs winning. I wouldn't say, if you give me 2 choices, Chiefs trouncing or Chiefs loss, I would pick Chiefs loss. I think it's more likely that Buffalo wins than they just get demolished. All right, now I'm thinking Chiefs win by somewhere 7 to 9 points. All right, but I am with you and I feel your anger. Your anger is that everyone is giving Buffalo a benefit of the doubt that they're not giving the Chiefs. It's as simple as that. Everyone is, like you said it, Buffalo, didn't look all that great in wins against, the Jets at the end of the season. And I even said yesterday that they had a wake-up call. All right, they had a wake-up call when they were embarrassed against New England with the 3-pass game, the loss. And then they were, it looked like it was closer than it was against Tampa Bay. But they were down 24-3 in that game. So those 2 games woke them up. I said yesterday. But did it? Maybe it didn't wake them up. Because the 4 teams they beat at the end of the season, 3 of them were losing teams. And 1 of them was New England, which lost 3 of its last 4 games in the regular season. So I was giving them a benefit of the doubt that, hey, they woke up, but maybe not. Maybe they just played bad teams. All right. And last week, while it's obviously impressive what they did to Belichick and the Patriots, but in the regular season, they followed up impressive wins with bad losses.
That's right.
They follow up the big win over Kansas City with a loss to Tennessee. They blew out the Jets, scored 45 points against them, and then lost to Indianapolis. All right, they put 31 on New Orleans and then come back with a loss to New England in the windstorm. So every time they had a huge win, or many times in the regular season, they couldn't follow it up. And I think that could happen this week as well. And here's the final thing. People are talking about the 38-20 win of early in the season. But that was an entirely different Kansas City team. We know their defense was among the worst in the league at that point, if not the worst. Chris Jones didn't play that game. Melvin Ingram didn't play that game. And, last half of the season, they've been one of the best defenses in the league. Patrick Mahomes was in the middle of a turnover extravaganza during that loss.
Yeah.
He had 3 turnovers in that game. He's only had 3 interceptions in his last 9 regular seasons games, Wild. So this is a totally different Kansas City Chiefs team, and I don't think people are fully understanding that as they make their predictions.
So there was one interesting note about Kansas City being totally different, because a lot of times we talk about Mahomes' turnovers went down, the defense got better, although, Nick, the defense has taken a step back. I want to show you this stat and get your take on it. It was in the Ringer article. Stephen Ruiz did it, but it's an NFL, stat. What is it called? What is this officially called?
Next Gen Stat.
I'm sorry.
Next Gen Stat.
I apologize.
No problem.
Pepper, Next Gen Stat. So the Next Gen Stat, I was shocked by this, Nick. Patrick Mahomes threw 2 touchdown passes targeting vertical routes for the first time since Week 12, 2020. I just feel like I have forgotten about Patrick Mahomes with long bombs when a lot of these have been little crossing routes with a lot of yak from Tyreek Hill. Do you think now Patrick Mahomes, we're going to see basically a brand new Patrick Mahomes where he really starts airing it out against the Bills? And I know I'm going to put you in a tough spot here. Mac Jones, I'm not saying he has the strongest arm in the world, but he was only a few inches away from completing a beautiful pass if Micah Hyde didn't come up with the interception. I feel like Patrick Mahomes can make that pass, and Buffalo is vulnerable to those.
Well, listen, Buffalo lost their best defensive player, Tre'Davious White, and no one's been able to make him pay for it. They lost him weeks ago because they've played nothing other than Brady but bad quarterbacks. And against Brady, obviously, the Bucs scored 30-plus, and the Bills lost that game. I do think there is a bit of a culture shock that's about to hit the Bills with the quality of Mahomes' play. I also think the Chiefs, with Jerick McKinnon, the Bills are very susceptible against the run. I think they're going to be playing the pass, and the Chiefs can gash them on that, make them respect that, and then you can hit them over the top. But there's one other factor to this game that no one has mentioned. Sometimes I discover something, and I'm like, you know what, let me just see if someone else in the media landscape is going to plow this ground. And no one has, and now we're days away, so I'll do it. The scariest curse in sports the last few years, you guys are going to laugh and then you're going to think about it, is the Chiefs divisional round curse. Do you realize what's happened to franchises that have played Patrick Mahomes in this round? Let me just tell you real quick. First time, it was the Colts. That was Andrew Luck's last game ever. He quit football after that game. The next year, they played in the divisional round? The Houston Texans. They have been the worst franchise in the league since that game. They're up 24-0. Then they went 4-12. Then Deshaun Watson didn't play, fired the whole organization, made a chaplain in charge of everything. Who'd they play in the divisional round last year? The Cleveland Browns. How'd this season go for them? How'd Baker do? How'd Odell do? How'd all of that go? There's a very funny thing that happens. You come to Arrowhead, the divisional round, feeling great. Oh, my God, we could slay the Chiefs. Oh, my God, we could make a Super Bowl. And you leave so beaten and despondent, you might quit the sport like Luck. You might burn the franchise down like they have in Houston. You might implode from the inside like they did in Cleveland. So I understand Bills Mafia. You're feeling great. You're breaking tables. You're making plans for Los Angeles. I just do wonder what happens if you lose this game. What the Bills look like last year. Maybe you can call up, Andrew the Giant Luck, see what he's doing. I think he's touring the Louvre as we speak. It's very interesting what happens to teams that play the Chiefs in this round. Something to think about, Wilds.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.